Hear now from the psalmist, Psalm 8. O Lord, our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory above the heavens. Out of the mouths of babes and infants, you have founded a bulwark because of your foes, to silence the enemy and the avenger. When I look at your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them, mortals that you care for them? Yet you have made them a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor. You had given them dominion over the works of your hands. You have put all things under their feet, all sheep and oxen, and also the beasts of the field, the birds of the air, and the fish of the sea, whatever passes along the paths of the seas. O Lord, our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth. I invite you to join with me in prayer. Holy God, you have given us life and nurtured us along our way. In you we live and move and have our being. To you we bring our offering of praise and thanksgiving. We open ourselves to your presence. Fill us with resolve and purpose to be your community, to expand our boundaries until all of creation is renewed and all people are welcomed and blessed. Amen. As we begin the time of meditation, I want to invite you to take a little trip down memory lane. I want you to think back and see if you can remember a time of feeling overwhelmed at the sense of the vastness of creation and your place within that creation. Perhaps it was when you were little and the first time that you can really remember recognizing the moon and the stars. Or perhaps it has been a more recent experience. Do you remember a moment when you realized just how small of a part you really play in this thing called life? And what was that experience like for you? Think back and remember. As many of you know, Keith and I enjoy going camping. Well, last weekend we celebrated our 1-year anniversary. I don't know where the time went, but it was a great joy to be able to once again be out under the stars. And as the night air became chilly and the campfire was crackling and keeping us warm, I remembered looking up and once again realizing just how immense creation is. As I looked up and saw the moon and the stars again, it always amazes me how bright they are and how many stars there are. And now we have Psalm 8. It's one of our assigned readings for this week, in which the psalmist reminds us that even though we are just little specks of dust, we are specks of dust made in the image and likeness of God. That we are specks actually given a really great deal of responsibility. One of the authors I read this week, Sylvia Purdy, interprets Psalm 8 in a way that really speaks to my heart, and I want to share it with you now. She writes, God, our living God, you are amazing. You are higher than I can look. You're wider than I can see, but I can hear you. Listen. We can hear you in the laughter of a little child. We can hear you in the babbling of a baby. You don't need words to tell us of your power. Why do you need us at all? We are so small and the world is so big. The stars are so many and space is so enormous. God, our living God, you are amazing. You made everything. Why do I matter? But we do matter. God cares for us most of all, and through us, God cares for all the world. You put everything into our care. All the animals, all the birds, all the fish, everything that creeps or flies or runs or swims, even the land and the air and the sea. It is all ours to look after. God, our living God, you are amazing. As I said before, we may just be small specks in the big picture, but we are specks with an awesome responsibility to care. And not only are we charged to care for the earth, but all of creation. And most importantly, let us not forget that you and I are part of that creation. In a time when there are more questions than answers, when our hearts seem to at times be overwhelmed by fear and doubts, anger and grief, when the clouds of economic and political instability seem to cast a shadow wherever we go, we not only need the love, compassion, and mercy of God, we need to open our hearts to one another. We have a responsibility to care for one another. So I started off with the question of taking you down memory lane and asking you to remember that experience. And can you remember a time when you felt just how small you were in the whole of creation? I have another question for you now. Even in that smallness you may be feeling, how might you be the hands, the feet, the heart of God to someone today? Now this one I actually do have an answer for. See, the answer must and will always start with one word: relationship. We must create space in our lives for intentional and genuine relationships, especially with people who are different from us, people who believe differently, people who think differently, and especially people who look differently and are from different social and ethnic groups than our own. Sometimes people get confused or spend a lot of time thinking, what does it mean to be made in the image and likeness of God? How do we reflect that image, that likeness of God? But by doing what God has done, entering into authentic, life-changing relationships. Indeed, be the hands, the feet, and the heart of God today and every day. Open yourself to another person. May God bless us on our journeys. Amen. And now I invite you to join with me in our prayer of thanksgiving. Praise to you, divine Creator. Thank you for the gift of life, the beauty of nature, the mystery of your ways, and your steadfast loving kindness. Praise to you, divine Redeemer. Thank you for sharing our human existence. From birth through death to everlasting life, you have shown us a way worth emulating, bringing healing and hope to those most in need. Praise to you, divine Sustainer. Thank you for the vision to see beyond the immediate, a calm in the midst of storm, the strength to build an ever-expanding community, and the courage to bring about change necessary within our lives. For the beauty of creation, the gift of life, and your presence with each of us, even though we are physically distanced, we give you thanks. Work through us so that we might be channels of your mission in the world, to build your community on earth as it is in heaven. Amen. Amen. God bless you.